Financial advisor's office smelled like leather and old money, like the kind of place where people go to feel important about their wealth. I sat in the corner chair, just slightly behind my parents, watching them perform what I had come to call their successful people routine. My father leaned back confidently in his chair, his voice rich with self-importance. "We've built quite a substantial portfolio over the years," he was saying. "Real estate, blue chip stocks, a bit of private equity. We're at about $180 million now, wouldn't you say, Catherine?" My mother nodded, her diamond tennis bracelet catching the light as she shifted in her seat. "Give or take," she said with a smile. "We've been very disciplined investors." Thomas Morrison, the advisor, smiled and tapped away on his tablet. "That's certainly impressive. And you're looking to consolidate for better management?" "Exactly," my father said. "We've got accounts scattered across different firms. It's time to bring everything under one roof, get a clearer picture." "Well," Thomas said, "I appreciate you considering Morrison Wealth Management. We specialize in high net worth families like yours. I'll need to review your current holdings. Do you have documentation of your accounts?" "Most of it," my father replied, pulling out a folder. "Though some of our newer investments are handled by... What was the name of that firm, Catherine?" "Sterling Capital Advisors. They handled our more aggressive growth portfolio." I shifted slightly in my seat, still silent. Sterling Capital Advisors was my firm. The company I'd founded 8 years ago under my full name, Alexandra Sterling Chin. To them, though, I was just Emma, their creative but disappointing daughter who, in their words, couldn't hold down a real job. And by the way, if you're new here or if this already has you curious, pause just one moment. If you've ever been underestimated, if you've ever had to play small to protect your peace, then this story is for you. So do me a favor, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Because what's coming next, they won't see it coming either. Let's get back into it. Thomas glanced at me briefly, the polite glance people give to someone's unimportant family member. "And you are?" "Our daughter, Emma," my mother said with that tone she uses when she's both loving and a little embarrassed. "She's more of a creative type, not really interested in financial matters. Are you, honey?" "Not particularly," I replied, keeping my face unreadable. Dad chuckled. "She can't even manage a budget. Unlike us, we've always been very strategic with money." My mom laughed her signature country club lunch laugh. "Remember when she tried that photography business? Lost $10,000 in a year? We had to sit her down and explain basic business concepts." Thomas nodded politely. "It happens. Not everyone has a head for numbers." I smiled, but said nothing. The photography business? It was a decoy. A calculated $10,000 failure designed to convince them I was exactly what they thought, financially incompetent. Meanwhile, behind the curtain, I was building a $340 million investment portfolio. You see, I'd never been bad with money. I'd been phenomenal. But I'd learned early that my parents couldn't handle that truth. At 22, fresh out of college with a finance degree, I tried once, just once, to talk investment strategy with my father. He laughed, patted my hand, and said, "Leave the grown-up money talk to people who understand it, sweetheart." My mother told me to focus on finding a nice husband instead. So, I stopped trying. I took my $50,000 inheritance from my grandmother, the only person who ever really believed in me, and started something extraordinary. I registered Sterling Capital Advisors under my legal name and began building a firm so quietly, so carefully, that not even my family knew. 8 years later, Sterling Capital managed over $340 million in assets. My clients? Tech executives, old money families, Fortune 500 CEOs. My specialty? Aggressive growth strategies in undervalued sectors. My average annual return? 23%, consistently outperforming the market. And the real twist? 95% of my parents' $180 million portfolio was mine. I had been managing their money for 6 years without their knowledge, through a web of shell companies and investment vehicles. They thought they were brilliant. They thought they had made all the right calls. But every success, every strategic investment, every perfectly timed exit had been me. Thomas tapped on his screen. Let's review your current positions. I see significant holdings with Sterling Capital Advisors. That's a respected firm. Do you work directly with them? We do. They've been incredible. 28% returns last year alone. Those were my trades, my timing, my decisions. I also see real estate investments in Prague, Singapore, and Austin. That's some sophisticated geographic diversification. We've always believed in global opportunities, Mom said, as if she had handpicked each market herself. The Prague property? That was a complex I bought at the bottom of a correction. It tripled in value. The Singapore tech sector? My research. $4.2 million in returns. Austin? Perfectly placed for the tech migration boom. They had no idea. Not a single clue. Thomas paused. There's also a significant position in Chin Medical Technologies. Interesting company, trending upward. That's a family investment, Dad said proudly. We wanted to support innovation in healthcare. He didn't know. That company, I'd founded 4 years ago under my Chinese surname to keep it separate from anything they'd recognize. It was now worth $87 million. They held $12 million in shares, purchased through accounts I had funded from returns I had generated. Every asset they bragged about was one I had built for them. Every dollar they thought they'd earn through strategy was mine, quietly engineered over 6 years of silence. And they still sat there chuckling about how bad I was with money. They had no idea the storm that was coming. I stepped out of the meeting and into the hallway, the door closing behind me like the click of a trap being set. My phone was already buzzing. James Park, my operations manager, was calling from Sterling Capital. They're asking for full transparency on the Chin family portfolio, he said without a hello. My heart sank. Define full. Full beneficial ownership. If we comply, Morrison's team will see that you, Alexander Sterling Chin, hold control over 95% of your parents' assets through our shell structures. And if we don't, they walk. Or worse, they start digging. And you know Morrison, he's not lazy. Through the glass wall, I watched my parents inside, laughing with Thomas, still basking in the illusion of their success, of their brilliance, still so certain their wealth had come from their own savvy decisions. They had no idea. I need until tomorrow morning, I said, gripping the phone tighter. Don't respond yet. Understood. I ended the call and stood frozen for a beat, the weight of 6 years pressing on my chest like wet cement. 6 years of silently fixing their messes. 6 years of letting them believe they were geniuses. 6 years of being the disappointment in the family while secretly architecting every single penny of their fortune. And now it was ending. I walked back in. Thomas was giving a sleek presentation on Morrison Wealth's performance history and testimonials. My parents were eating it up like it was gospel. Everything okay? My mom asked as I sat down. Just work, I said. Dad raised an eyebrow. You're working now? Consulting, I replied vaguely, my go-to answer when I needed to be invisible. Well, that's something. They turned back to Thomas. So, what's the next step? I'll need a week to do full due diligence. Ownership structure, fee arrangements, performance history, especially important for a portfolio this size. Mom beamed. We've been very thorough with our estate planning. Everything's structured through investment vehicles. Thomas nodded. That's sophisticated. Though I do like to understand exactly who controls what, particularly with generational wealth. Do you have children other than Emma? No, just Emma, my mom said, though the estate is arranged to go to various charities if she can't manage it responsibly. I didn't flinch. I didn't speak. They were sitting on $180 million I'd built from scratch and planning to cut me out of it. I felt something shift inside me. Not anger, something colder, clarity. Actually, I said calmly, there's something you should know about the portfolio structure. 3 heads turned. My father's expression was indulgent, my mother's polite, Thomas's curious. Most of the holdings aren't in your names, I said, at least not directly. Dad chuckled. That's how investment vehicles work, sweetheart. LLCs, trusts, nothing for you to worry about. I'm not worried, I said, just clarifying. Sterling Capital Advisors holds beneficial ownership of approximately 95% of your portfolio. Thomas blinked. That's highly unusual. Mom laughed lightly. Emma, you're confused. Of course we own our assets. Sterling just manages them. I unlocked my phone and turned the screen toward them. Actually, Sterling owns the assets through a structure I set up 6 years ago. Every single investment vehicle, every trust, every entity you signed off on. Dad's smile twitched. That can't be. We have statements. Statements of returns, not ownership. Look at the fine print, assuming you ever did. Thomas was now scrolling rapidly on his tablet. Miss Chin, are you saying your parents don't actually own? I replied, they own 5%, roughly $9 million in direct holdings. The rest, $171 million, controlled by Sterling Capital. The room fell dead silent. Mom spoke first. Emma, this is serious. You don't know what you're saying. I know exactly what I'm saying, I answered. I structured the whole thing 6 years ago. You asked me to help with your paperwork after a bad quarter. You'd lost $60,000 in 3 months chasing golf course stock tips. Dad flinched. You were overwhelmed. I stepped in. I saw everything. You'd invested $1.6 million over 25 years and had barely $800,000 to show for it. You were burning through your savings. You were 3 years from financial disaster. And you just took over? My mom asked, her voice cracking. I rebuilt everything, I said. I moved your holdings into controlled structures. I designed a growth strategy. And I turned your $2.1 million into $180 million. Thomas muttered under his breath. That's extraordinary. These returns are institutional grade. 28% last year, 31% the year before. My father was pale. We were your clients? For 6 years, I said. You just didn't know it. You lied, he snapped. I protected you. I saved you from yourselves, and I stayed quiet while you took the credit. He opened his mouth to argue. I didn't let him. Tell me, Dad, what property did you buy in Prague? Silence. Which tech companies did you invest in Singapore? Silence. Why did you choose those Austin properties? Silence. Mom's voice was barely a whisper. You're saying none of this was us? I nodded. Every win, every return, every smart investment was me. And I let you believe otherwise because I knew you'd never accept the truth. Thomas cleared his throat. So, what now? I reached into my bag and pulled out 2 documents. Option 1, you acknowledge my role as your advisor. We restructure transparently. I continue managing your portfolio. And option 2, Thomas asked, scanning the paper. I liquidate everything. Capital gains taxes hit hard. You'll walk away with about $112 million. Still very wealthy, but $68 million less than what I've built. My mother gasped. My father stood abruptly. You're saying we lose $68 million to leave? You're free to do whatever you want, I said calmly. But if you want to sever ties, you pay the price. Or you acknowledge the truth and let me keep doing what I've done better than anyone you've ever met. Thomas sat back. Mr. and Mrs. Chin, I would strongly consider option 1. Dad's face turned purple. This is blackmail. No, I said, standing, it's reality. I won't steal from you, but I will stop pretending to be small. I'll give you until 5 p.m. to decide. And with that, I left the room. The hallway outside Thomas Morrison's office felt quieter than it should have. I paced for a few minutes, letting the hum of fluorescent lights settle my nerves. My phone buzzed again. James. They're not wasting time, he said. Morrison's office just sent another request for full disclosure. Want me to stall? No, I said. I gave them the deadline. We stick to it. You're sure? I'm done being underestimated. By the time I walked back into the office, the air inside was different. Tense, heavier. My parents sat stiffly. Thomas's expression was neutral, but I could tell he'd just spent the last 15 minutes giving them a reality check. We need time to think, Mom said, immediately, reaching for a sense of calm she didn't have. You have until 5 p.m., I said, placing the final option 2 documents on the table. Sign that, and I began liquidation tomorrow. You'll have about $112 million in liquid assets after tax. No obligations. You can work with Morrison or anyone else you want. And if we don't sign, Dad asked, voice low and cold, then we move to option 1. I remain your investment advisor, but under transparent terms this time, and you stop treating me like the family failure. Thomas glanced at the papers. To be honest, Mr. and Mrs. Chin, either option would still leave you in a strong position, but option 1 saves you $68 million and access to a professional who, frankly, outperforms most firms I've seen. Dad's voice rose. This isn't about the money. It never was, I said. He looked at me, eyes blood red. You manipulated us. I took a deep breath. No, I protected you. I made sure you could retire comfortably. I watched your egos balloon with every quarterly return, and I said nothing. And now that you know the truth, you're furious because it didn't come from you. You still lied. No, I replied. I omitted. I used my legal name. I never pretended to be anyone else. You never asked what I did. You didn't care to ask. Mom's voice was shaking. We trusted Sterling Capital. You trusted them because the results made you feel smart. But what you trusted was me, and you didn't even know it. Thomas tapped the table lightly. Legally, everything Miss Sterling Chin has done checks out. Morally, well, that's for your family to decide. My mother leaned forward, her diamond bracelet catching the light, the same way it had when she proudly talked about their disciplined investments. I just don't understand, she whispered. Why didn't you tell us? Would you have believed me? She said nothing. I gave a keynote last year at the Institutional Investor Conference. You were there. Her eyes widened. You asked me what I thought of that young woman who spoke. You said she seemed overly confident. That young woman was me. The room fell so still, I could hear the ticking of Thomas's wristwatch. Dad sat down heavily. This is too much. No, it's exactly enough. There was a long pause. Finally, Thomas stood. "I'll leave you three to discuss." After he left, my parents sat silently, staring at the documents in front of them. I didn't press. I'd said everything I needed to. At 4:47 p.m., my phone rang. "Emma," Mom said. Her voice was quieter than usual, smaller. Or should I say Alexandra? Emma is fine. It's still my name. "We've been talking. With each other. With Thomas. Your father called our lawyer. We're not signing the liquidation documents." I closed my eyes. The pressure in my chest loosened. "Okay. But we want conditions," she added quickly. I braced myself. "We want transparency. Real meetings, monthly, where we actually learn about what you're doing. No more signing papers blindly." "I can do that." And her voice hesitated. "Your father wants an apology." I laughed, a short, dry laugh that came out sharper than intended. "For what?" I asked. "For saving you? For protecting your portfolio? For being better at this than you ever imagined?" "For lying." "I'm not apologizing. I'm not sorry for protecting myself while helping you. If anything, Dad owes me an apology for the years of mockery, the dismissive comments, the golf buddy jokes about my art projects." There was silence on the line. "I'll take that silence as a no," I said. "He says we'll table the apology discussion," she whispered. "Smart choice. Send me the signed version of option 1 by end of business tomorrow. We'll schedule our first review meeting next week." "Emma?" "Yes?" "One more thing." She paused. I waited. "Thomas said you gave a speech, and that we were there. That conference?" "Yes. You sat in the back during my keynote." I remember you sitting with us at lunch after. We asked what you thought of the speaker. You said she made some interesting points. And you said she seemed awfully confident for someone so young. She went quiet. "That was you." "That was me," I said softly. The call ended soon after, and I sat alone in my office high above Manhattan, watching the sun dip behind the skyline. My phone buzzed again. The signed documents. Option 1. Accepted. They chose to stay, not because they fully understood who I was. Not yet, but because finally they had to see me. Later that night, James knocked on my door. "They're staying?" "They're staying." "Good. That portfolio is one of your best." "It is, and I would have liquidated it." "For pride?" "No, for principle." He nodded and walked out, leaving me alone again with the Manhattan lights and 6 years' worth of emotions finally surfacing. Tomorrow, I'd sit down with my parents, officially this time, and start walking them through what I'd built. I'd show them how I saved them from themselves. Not to gloat, not anymore, but to rebuild something real. Sometimes people don't recognize your worth until they're forced to. Sometimes silence is the loudest strength you can hold on to until the truth can no longer be ignored.